We are talking about the tactical skills of hand-to-hand combat, written by Bradley J. Steiner, 1977, and we are on to Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is Stay Alert Under Stress and Keep Calm. This is not an easy thing to do. If you're just outright attacked, you react. There's not time for thoughts to mount and all of that. But what about the situation which commonly happens? You're being threatened and you know violence is imminent, or you don't know. That's the whole thing. And your mind can start to race. You need to be fierce in battle, but ferocity is not madness. You don't want to be filled with hate and rage, and you'll make errors and make mistakes, and your mind is not going to be able to see what it needs to see. It's definitely the true sign of a combat master that remains undaunted by his own ferocity, let alone the enemy's ferocity. I have never attacked somebody with a knife, and I've never been attacked with a knife, but I have trained people who have been on both ends of that spectrum. And I remember the first time I ever saw real pictures of victims of knife attacks. One was a student, and she had pictures of what had happened, and it was hard to look at it. It was really hard to look at it, and I thought to myself, imagine being the one with the blade doing that to somebody. And that's what I mean by being undaunted by, your own ferocity as you're going after the enemy. It's that anticipation that can really wreak havoc with us. And it's that time that you really got to take control of your thinking. Fear is something that's going to happen, and fear is not a superfluous emotion. Hate is, though. Fear you want, but you don't want the madness that can come with fear. What fear can do to your mind is the same thing that hate can do to your mind, and you don't want that. What fear does to your body is a whole another thing altogether. Fear gives you this tremendous physical energy to be able to withstand injury and to be able to defeat the attacker. So the fear you really want to welcome. You want the super toughness of fear without the mental madness. I remember a student years ago. He was a very advanced student too. And I always teach my students when they learn how to deal with a guy with a knife. And I teach them that if the guy is skillful with the knife and you are unarmed, your chances are about zero to defeat him. And he just didn't agree with that. He just felt like he had enough ability that he could deal with a guy that had a knife in his hand. So I said, okay, let's do this. And I said, let's be careful about it so nobody gets hurt. And I had a rubber knife, and I said, I'm going to stay away from your face. But if it was reality, I would not stay away from your face and neck. And we got squared off. I had the blade, and he didn't. And I just started coming in and hacking him up. I stepped in and I hacked him here, hacked him there, stepped back out again. I was out of range for him to do anything. And I went through a routine on him that would have probably ended things. And then we kind of separated again, and I saw this rage come over him. I was really surprised, and he was just fuming. And he came screaming, charging at me. And I couldn't believe it. I was in my mind going, are you really doing this? You have left yourself wide open. And I used that maneuver that is in Cold Steel that John Steyer shows. It's out of fencing, but I don't remember the terms for it. But as he ran in, I just held my ground, and I pivoted and stuck the blade right in his neck as he came by. But what really struck me was how easy he was to defeat once he lost control like that and came in the way he did. And I told him, don't ever do that. Aren't you going to get that if this guy knows what he's doing with a blade, you need to get out of there, or you need to have a weapon like a firearm against him, or pick up some other weapon, or use some sort of deception. But the point in all of this is that he lost his cool when he came racing after me. And It didn't help him at all. What you want to do in a situation like this is one, welcome fear. That's the first thing. So many people get panicked by the feeling of fear. And you want to realize that you want the fear. You're not trying to get rid of it. You're not going to get rid of it. And the more you train, the more you can get this fear under control. But the first step in doing what I'm talking about, to stay alert under stress and to keep calm, is to welcome fear. Know that you want it. Feel your fear fully. The second thing, calmly assess the situation. Is this dangerous or not dangerous, and what do I need to do? With my students, they go to the relaxed ready position, they angle off, they keep distance with the individual where he's going to have to move into attack. So don't let somebody get you all hot because he comes in and he's swearing at you and he's threatening you. And I have people tell me all the time, well, if a guy does that and he gets close, that's it, I go off on him. I'm like, slow down here, maybe not. But one, welcome the fear. Two, calmly assess the situation. Three, turn over to your body the task of reacting appropriately. And this is where training comes in. If you're not trained, you're not going to have those reactions. But allow your body to react appropriately. And then the final thing, which can be kind of hard, is to empty your mind. So you don't want to have these preconceived ideas of what he's going to do. He's going to punch with his right hand. He's going to punch with his left hand. He's going to come in for a takedown. You don't know what he's going to do. And you want to empty your mind. Now I want to make a point here. I don't think anybody, including the Dalai Lama, can probably empty his mind. The more proper concept really is to throw away thoughts. So it's not unusual to be in a situation like that and think to yourself, if he moves in right now, I'm going to deliver a side kick to his knee. But then he may move in a certain way and you realize that changes. But you don't want to hang on to the thought for very long. You want to toss it away. Sometimes I imagine a grease board or a chalkboard. And when the thought comes to me, there's an eraser behind it erasing it. And I'm just keeping my eyes on the potential enemy and ready to react to whatever he does or doesn't do. So if he does nothing, I'm not going to react. I might preemptively attack and go before he does anything, but more than likely, I'm going to wait for him to make the first move so I can be assured that he is in fact attacking me. I'm not going to let him complete that first move, but you want to learn to throw away thoughts in a circumstance like that. It is a difficult thing to do, but the ideal state of mind would be to not hold on to any thoughts as you're anticipating what's happening and just focus on the behavior of the individual in front of you. Don't get caught up into what he's saying. Just watch his behavior. This is a good rule for life, Some people will tell you this and they'll tell you that, and when you watch their behavior, it doesn't match their words. And what should you be paying attention to? Their behavior, If somebody tells you, you meet somebody, let's say you're a woman, you meet a man, and he says, I just love children. And then when you see him around children, he's very frustrated and irritated and agitated, and it's like, oh, his behavior is a little different than his words are. So this guy threatening you, who's claiming he's going to beat you up, he's going to do this, just pay attention to what he's doing. Now his fist comes up, go, attack, go after him with everything you got. Another helpful thing here is when you're training and training solo, which is my favorite way to train. I like working with partners too, but once you get into partner work, you got to take all this kind of thing out I'm about to talk about. Everything needs to slow down so nobody gets hurt. When we're talking about combat techniques, we're talking about techniques that injure people, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to accidentally land a side kick into somebody's knee with a little too much force, and it's completely unacceptable. And who's ever teaching that class is responsible for everybody in that room, that nobody gets carried away with things. But what you want to do when you're training solo and you're imagining the attacker in front of you, try to really imagine danger. Try to put yourself in that set where you feel your life is on the line and you are really frightened. And now his knife comes out and you smash him in the knee and you go after him and you run it again and you run it again and you're imagining this dangerous situation. Tactic number 9, stay alert, under stress, and keep calm. Chapter 10 is next.